Okay, hello testers. Thank you for tuning in for our July AMA. You'll see that I have another guest here with me today. This is Kevin, our tester success intern. You may have seen him answer some of your support tickets or forum threads. But I wanted you all to be able to put a name to a face, so he's here with us today and will be going through some of these questions with us. I see we have a few people starting now. If people just tuned in, okay, more people coming in. People who are just tuning in, this is Kevin, our intern. He's gonna answer a few questions for us today. Everyone else, we have a lot of questions to get to, so we will go ahead and get started since people can watch this video later. But that being said, Kevin, want to say hi really fast?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I am the intern for Kirsten. I'll be answering some of the AMA questions along with her. Glad to be here.
Cool. Thanks, Kevin. We will go ahead and get started. If you all haven't seen, I put a link to the questions that you can follow along with and the portal news. It is also linked in the YouTube video description as well, I believe. So we will go ahead and get started with the first section about virtual machine questions. Once I get all set up over here. Okay, so the first question here, when will the VM problems be fixed? Each tester will get different results due to the VM issue, and this will affect the trust score. If each test is validated by speed, accuracy, this means the current VM issues, the results will vary due to slow VMs, no response VMs, mouse hangs in all images, et cetera, et cetera. So basically just all around complaints about the VM issue. So we do apologize for the frustration that VM issues cause, both for you, our testers, and for our customers. Our VM ops team works very hard to maintain our VMs and tackle issues with them, but of course the team's capacity is limited. It's only a couple people, and some things about the VMs are simply just out of our control in general. So we appreciate your hard work and the patience you have with our VMs, and us, of course, as we try to improve them. And of course, what matters to Rainforest at the end of the day is that the test gets done correctly. So thank you through the frustration for following all of our rules and all that. Question number 2. Since it's prohibited to refresh the page, can we use the reconnect button? I have observed that the long wait for a step to respond, a red notification is appearing, lost connection with VM. So yes, you should use the reconnect button in situations like these when you are at risk of losing connection. And if the reconnect button fails to solve the problem you're having, you should use the restart button. And this is something similar. So the VM not connected is showing sometimes. At that time, I have to refresh and do the step again. So we're sorry this is happening. That sounds very frustrating. So same thing, try to use the reconnect button. And if that doesn't solve the issue, you can use the restart button. Good day, Kristen. Good day to you. Thank you. My question, every day we have the same problems, can't connect to the VM, something bad happened, couldn't get a specific type of machine, etc. When will the problems be fixed? Thank you very much. So same as the answer to question 1, thanks for your patience. We're working really hard to get the VMs up to the best kind of performance place we can get them, but there's only so much we can do, and capacity is also limited for the things we can do. So thanks for your patience as we try to work through all of this. So sometimes when I click the yes or no button, it shows VM not connected, and I have to refresh the job and do it from step 1. So same as earlier, try reconnect button. If that doesn't solve the issue after you try it a few times, go ahead and use the restart button. So I have a question. Can you disable the save password pop-up on the browsers? During the test, when I log into the site and proceed with the test, there's a pop-up that appears on the browser to save the password, and I have to close this every time I log in. Thanks in advance. So we likely won't be able to disable these. We had disabled them previously, but some customers want them enabled, even though it's a case of you just exiting out of them when they pop up. So we apologize for that convenience, that inconvenience, definitely not a convenience. Sorry about that. So we apologize for that inconvenience. And if anything changes on that front, I will let you all know. And as you saw, we'll also talk about pop-ups a little later as well. So let me make sure I didn't skip anything up here. Okay, so question number 7 about VMs. Many VMs stop to respond with animations or pictures. What to do about this? So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do in this case other than try to maintain the VMs to the best of our ability. So if a customer wants lots of images or animations on their website or app, that's up to them. There's not anything we can do about it. But if you have been waiting multiple minutes for the VM to respond and you fear you're at risk of losing the connection, go ahead and use the reconnect button and see if that helps. But again, only if you think you're at fear of losing connection. Sometimes with these things, it honestly might just take a little while for it to load on the VMs. And then this last one here, it's number 8. It's impossible to reconnect for hovering over. So I discussed this one with the team, and we couldn't really figure out what you were trying to report, unfortunately. So we're very sorry about that. Please, just next time, try to add a bit more detail to the complaint so we can figure it out for you. And that being said, we're going to move on to a section about some job situations where you'd actually want to use the suggest improvement feature. So I'm going to let Kevin read this one for you all.
All right. So the first question, step says, go to new tab, open image URL, and save image. But the next step does not ask you to return the original tab, but instead lists an instruction you have to perform in the original tab, such as upload image you have downloaded. Should I report it or not? So if it's obvious what you need to do, such as going to the original tab to enter this info, you can answer the step with yes, but use the suggest improvement feature with the choice, the action you want me to do is not fully described. However, if it's not obvious what you need to do, for example, both tabs are either very similar and you can perform the function on either, you need to report it as no and explain the issue in the bug report. So, following question. Number 2, let's take the following example. Click on login button, enter username and password. Are you brought to the dashboard page? When we click on the login button, a login form appears in the form of a pop-up. This is not mentioned in the instruction. Does this mean we have to report the pop-up? So, answer. It sounds like they imply the presence of the pop-up since it's the only place to enter your login information. You should answer the step yes if it's obvious where you need to enter the login info. But use the suggest improvement feature with the choice, the action you want me to do is not fully described, and suggest that they should mention the instruction that you will be interacting with a pop-up. If you have encountered an instruction like this, please provide the customer name so we can report it to our customer success team the next time. Question 3. What to do if we land on a text that only has an open quotation mark? Example, is this status draft approved with only one quote? The answer is ignore matching since the quotes are incomplete, but leave a suggest improvement comment with the choice. These instructions are hard to understand, and describe that the incomplete quote made it hard to understand if you were meant to adhere to the quote rule or not. Question 4. There isn't any closing quotation mark. What should we do? And the answer is the same as the answer to question 3. Ignore matching, but leave a suggest improvement comment with the choice. These instructions were hard to understand. Question 5. I was signed up to a site and then asked to log out from the site. In the next step, it says log in with the password given in the instructions, XXX sample password, and then enter the email you used in the step 2. But the previous steps, it wasn't mentioned anything about that. We should note down the email for further use. Of course, we can hover over the second step and we can see the email, but is it allowed to do this or should we report it? So the answer is you should hover over the second step to see the email. Leave a suggest improvement comment on the step using the choice, the action you want me to do is not fully described, and explain that it would be helpful if the previous step told you to copy down the email address you needed to use in this step. And the sixth and final question for this section is, when instruction puts one quote and forgets to put the other quote, should I report or ignore matching? This answer is the same as the answers to question 3 and 4. Ignore matching, but leave a suggest improvement comment with the choice. These instructions are hard to understand. That's all the questions for this section. And the next section, Kirsten will answer, is about pop-up questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, so like Kevin said, this one is about questions you all submitted for pop-ups. So a few questions were submitted about pop-ups. As you'll see me mention here a little later, we realized there's still some confusion around this, so we will be trying to build out some more support materials around it. So first question here. Greetings, Kristen. I need more clarification regarding pop-ups. Do we need to report small chat boxes that appear in the bottom right-hand corner of some websites? So this is one that we discussed with our CSM team and product team. There might be updates on this in the future, but for now, yes, you should report any sort of pop-ups like these unless the customer has instructed you to ignore it. So another debate in the forum was the chat box. There's no question in reporting a pop-up chat window because it's blocking the main window, but what about an embedded chat window that stays in one place? Same answer as the first one, but again, we might have some updates for you about this in the future. Okay, so moving on from chat boxes to number 3. Hi, Kristen. There's now plenty of discussion regarding the pop-up rule, and this has created confusion despite the clarification made lately. Testers initially thought that the pop-up should be reported if it's preventing them from performing this step or the instruction. In fact, this was explained and was included in an example in the confusing scenarios. With the updated rule, any site-related pop-up we see is now interpreted as something that should be reported, if not mentioned, whether they interfere with the instruction or not. If this is how we treat every pop-up, then most likely we're already ending the test at the first or next step. So the pop-up rule hasn't really changed. We just made it an official rule. Speaking of pop-ups, I'm getting an annoying one on my computer right now I don't want, so let me get rid of that. Okay. So what we've been telling you all for a while is that any site-related pop-up, so anything related to the customer's website or app that they don't mention in the instructions needs to be reported. And any system-related and related pop-ups, so things like pop-ups about browser updates, if you want Chrome to save your password, things about hardware updates, that kind of stuff, you all don't need to report. That being said, error pop-ups always need to be reported because errors always need to be reported. But like I said, we realize there's still some confusion about this. We could provide a lot more examples of these different things. So we will work on doing that for you all. But in addition to that, some customers do add an initial step at the beginning, saying something like, you may encounter pop-ups randomly. When this happens, close them and continue with the tests. So be on the lookout for these types of instructions and follow them. The only time you must always report a pop-up, even if customers instruct you not to, is if it's an error pop-up, because you must always report those as no. So next one here. Another example, click on the select button. Are you brought to a new page titled Rainforest? After clicking on the select button, we usually see a loading pop-up appearing momentarily, and eventually the tester is brought to a new page without doing anything with the pop-up. Most sites have this kind of behavior, and most of the time the instruction doesn't mention it, so do we have to report it? So no, unless specified, you shouldn't report these types of pop-ups. And if people can see here, they provided a link to an image, so you can check that out and see what they are talking about there. Hi, Kristen. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you. I'm having a good day. I hope you are too. I have a confusion about rule 2 of 3, match text and quotes. If the question asks, are you brought to a new page with the title unnamed test in quotes, but the page says number 47211 unnamed test, answer yes, unnamed test matches what you see in quotes. Does this rule apply to pop-ups too? So for example, if you see instructions that say, do you see a pop-up called filter in quotes? After clicking the button in the website, the pop-up actually says, add filter, should I report it? So you should treat this, you should, I just saw my cat coming in. You should treat this the same way as you treat other things. So the quote rule applies to pop-ups the same way as it applies to anything else. If the text that's in the quote matches exactly, then you don't have to worry about it. If it doesn't, you should report it as no. So this next one, will Rainforest make a good guide covering pop-ups not mentioned in the instructions? And then it goes on to ask a few of the questions that have already been asked in these other ones. So the same answers to the previous ones apply here. And we will work on creating more support resources around pop-ups and clarifying some more questions for you all. But for now, let's talk about some quote rule questions, moving on to the next section. So we have about 5 questions here. The first one, if test instructions say, in the drop-down list in the top right corner, displays random text and select test 1, 2, 3. In that drop-down, there is random text, ... Should this be reported because the quotes don't match? And then you ask a similar thing. So the quotes actually, everything inside the quotes actually do match here. The extra text, so the colon here doesn't matter because it wasn't included in the quotes and the instructions. So since everything matches here, you should answer yes. As the rule states, the extra text around the matched words doesn't matter as long as the quoted text matches. So yeah, report that one as yes, as long as everything goes smoothly with the step. The second one here, if the instruction asked, are you to the page titled, this is the right page, but the page says this is the right page with a colon, what's the answer of it? Same as before, everything you see between the quotes matches exactly, and the colon was outside the quotes and doesn't matter, so you need to answer this as yes. So number 3, how to handle texts that are quoted twice. So there's the word text with like 2 sets of quotes around it. So unless you actually see texts like with the actual quotes around it on the web page, you'll need to report this one as no and say they used the quotes incorrectly. It sounds like they just used an extra set of quotes and didn't use it. And didn't mean to. Like I said, unless they actually do want you to look for text with quotes on it. But in that case, if you don't see it, you should report it as no. So this should be reported as no. So next one, with reference to Rule 2, it seems difficult for us to identify formatting inside quotes. How would we know if 2 words inside quotes are separated by a tab, indentation, or double spaces? This might be interpreted differently by testers. Like one would think 2 words separated by a single space, while other would say there are 2 spaces in between. Could test authors differentiate from one another when writing their instructions? So as far as spaces, hopefully that's not really something you all have to worry about a lot. If some customers are like wildly off with their spacing, please let us know and we'll look into it. As far as things like different tabs, I hope that's rare as well, because hopefully if someone's using quotes, they're asking you to look at one tab, for example, and not something that would be split between 2. But unless specifically instructed otherwise by the test author, use your best judgment to decide whether there's a match in the way the 2 words are separated, like in these weird situations, like if something might be separated by tabs or indentation, like you mentioned. But of course, if you do come across customers or stuff like this, where you like repeatedly see confusing situations like this, let us know who they are and we can work with our customer success team to improve them. Okay, so number 5 here. I have 2 questions. The page says, do you see the Safari icon unchecked? I don't find the Safari word, but I can see a Safari icon. When I hover over it, it says Safari. Should I report this according to the new rules? And then the second question must be like broken up in another section somewhere. So the customer shouldn't have used quotes around Safari if you were actually supposed to be looking for an icon with no words. But it sounds like that's what they did. So if you don't see the word Safari there, you should report it as no, since they use quotes, and explain the problem in the bug report you submit. Moving on to the next section. So these were just other questions you all sent about customer jobs that didn't necessarily fall under one of our main rules up there. So other questions related to customer jobs, instructions, etc. Question 1 in this section. Hello, Kristen. Some jobs ask me to click on a link or a button to be brought to a certain page specified in the instructions. But in the case I'm already on the page and even clicking on the link or button, the page remains the same and doesn't refresh. Should I report? Thank you. So if it tells you to follow a link to a page you're already on, there might be a reason for them to want you to do that. So go ahead and click on the link and follow the instructions if you can. Of course, if there's something that keeps you from following the instructions or doing what they want you to do, report that as no. But if you click on the link and follow the instructions and everything's going well, you should answer it as yes. So next question, number 2. When do you expect to release the new test jobs with the new rules? So I didn't fully understand this question. I'm not sure if there's something I missed as far as one of our teams telling you all something. But the new rules are released. I'm not sure what new test jobs you're referring to, but if I am corrected after this, I will update the answer before I post these answers to you all afterwards. So the new rule should include situations with the screenshots when there are large differences or a few. And then I think this is pretty much asking the same question as number 4 here. If the author asks, does the page look like on the screenshot or something like that? Do we have to match the whole page exactly? Even if there's pre-filled info on the page, or is it okay if the screenshot is a bit different? So I talked to product and our CSM team about this. Our customer success team right now says you don't have to worry about them matching exactly, just make sure they generally look okay. But of course, if the customer wants you to match exact items or the whole page, you know, between the screenshot, then they should be specific in the instructions when they tell you to look for that. Otherwise, it's more of a guide. I'll let you know if this changes in the future. I don't know if we need to make an actual, like, real rule for this, like one of our main rules, but we'll look at seeing how we can make this more clear for you all. So this next one here, does the long placeholder entered here, is it valid when there's no quotes in the instructions? Is it valid when there are quotes? So this is one that I'm still trying to confirm the answer before I give the whole answer to you all. But definitely if no quotes are involved, the placeholder is valid. We haven't really set parameters for customers as to how long to make the actual placeholder, because really just one underscore can act as a placeholder for one character or like 1,000 characters, however many they want it to. So it looks like the customer is just being extra cautious here. So definitely if no quotes are involved, just treat this as a regular placeholder. If quotes are involved, I think we're leaning towards still just treat it like a regular placeholder, but I'll get back to you all on that one. I'll have the updated answer when I post these for you. But definitely no quotes, just treat it like a regular little underscore placeholder, no matter how long or short it is. So why aren't there specific expressions for all customers to use, like login or go to the URL, etc.? So our customer success managers do their best to coach our customers and provide them with resources on what terms to use. They've recently made the glossary of terms for our customers, which we've recently posted for you all in the tester wiki, so you can see that too. So as you see, they do put a lot of effort into making sure customers know what terms to use, but at the end of the day, everyone still writes things a bit differently, and our customer success managers can't 100% control that. But they will continue to do their best when coaching our customers in this area. And if you all look at the glossary of terms that's linked in the wiki and they're not, you know, terms in there that you see customers using all the time, let us know what they are and we can see if we can get them added to that glossary or if we can get the customer success team to look at that. Okay, next one here. If the text contains long 30, 50, for example, alphanumeric or special characters, and the instruction says to type in the text, can we just paste them manually since entering the info increases the risk of error? So unfortunately, no. In some cases, copying, pasting triggers an autocorrect, which can change the pasted text without you even noticing it was changed. So that's why there are certain times when customers want you to specifically type the text out, and you shouldn't copy and paste. So of course, if it is longer, a longer string of characters you have to enter, make sure you're entering it very carefully, double, triple check it before you move on and answer the step. So next one here, in the May AMA, there was a question about the wrong step number in the instruction. I'd like to comment that there are tests containing control questions which don't appear when test authors write their steps. So basically our view is very different from that of the test authors. It could also be that the author reconsiders the redirection step as the first step while others, while testers don't, vice versa, maybe something to reconsider. So I don't think I fully understood this question. It's hard for me to understand the full context of it without the job ID. I think what you're saying is sometimes, for example, a customer might be saying something like, look back at question 7, which what they think is what in their view is question 7 for them is actually question like 9 or 10 for you because of various redirection steps and everything. I think that's what you're saying. I don't think we have a best practice in place for whether or not customers should like have you say like reference step 7, for instance. But we did report this to the CSM team, and we're going to see if we can make it more clear the way customers communicate these types of situations to you. So hopefully that's what you're asking. If I was way off my answer there, I apologize if that's not what you were looking for. Okay, so the next one here, question 9. The sign-in or login link doesn't log in soon. So once we click to sign in the text page, it doesn't open. The sign-in link is stuck when we click on it. Please check this. Thank you. This was also one I really could not figure out how to answer it. So I don't know if this is a general thing, if it like never works for you, or if it's happening with specific jobs from specific customers. So if you can, next time just provide a job ID or more details around what type of issue it's having, or else it's really hard for us to follow up on it. So question 10 here. After entering the password in the password field, a warning message, this connection is not secure, logins entered here could be compromised, learn more appear. Should I report this? So good question. This isn't an error message. So this might be updated in the future. Right now, you don't necessarily have to report this as no. But you should mention it in the, if you don't report it, still like leave a suggest improvement comment about a potential security issue that the customer might not might want to address. I didn't write down in this answer what suggest improvement choice you should use. I will confirm that before posting this answer. But yes, this should somehow be communicated to the customer some way, even if it's not reporting no. But I'll get back to you on what to 100% do there. Number 11 here. Hi, Kristen. So this is someone who collected quite a few questions from the forum. So there is one here about check boxes. I couldn't 100% make out what this was asking, but the previous answer that I believe was decided that if you're told to select, click, check, whatever, a checkbox, but it's already been checked off, and the instructions imply that it's an empty checkbox you should be checking off. If it's already been checked off, you should report it as no and explain the problem. And then this other one here, I wasn't able to come up with an answer and confirm an answer for this one yet. Is the instruction press enter tab on your keyboard, similar to the italics example in rule 2, suggest improvements, supporting examples, number 8. So this one I'm also going to get back to you and post the AMA answer on this document when I have it confirmed. And then there were also about 2 or 3 questions submitted about training job rejections. I've been following up with the science team about them. They're looking into verifying whether or not these rejections are fair. And I will be following up with each of you individually when those are verified. So be on the lookout for that if you submitted a question about training jobs. And then this next section here is about just regular non-training job rejections or any payment issues you all might be having. And I'm going to let Kevin take over this one.
All right. So first question. A few days ago, I did 11 hits, but I didn't get the daily bonus because 2 of them had an earlier job date. This is doubly unfair because on the one hand, I lost the daily bonus. In addition, those 2 works of previous job dates cannot be added to the bonus of the day of the job date because it was already paid. Could the submit date be taken into account instead of just the job date for paying the bonus? This only happens from time to time, but I think this would be the fairest thing. Best regards. So we at Rainforest agree that this is frustrating, and the team is aware of this issue, but hasn't been able to find the best solution yet. But we will try to get a solution as soon as possible. So question 2. I want to change the payment channel from excuse me, CS to NB, but I have not seen the change payment job in the jobs list even once. I'm trying to get this for the last 3 months. Kindly help me in this regard. So there's a forum thread dedicated to this issue. We will update testers on that thread when there's an update with the situation. The link will be provided in the AMA answer sheet after we provide after this. Excuse me. So question 3, what happens when if the computer or the tester is working on a job suddenly reboots? The tester loses the payment of all the steps taken? Answer, yes. If the test isn't successfully submitted, payment isn't issued. Question 4, when will there be new payment options? We aren't sure if or when there will be new payment options. This isn't a prioritized project at this time. Question 5, I'm writing you regarding problem with my payment channel. My account is blocked due to Crowdflower's unfair block. I tried to contact Crowdflower, but they said that my time at Crowdflower has ended. So there's no chance that my Crowdflower account will be unblocked. As a result, there's no chance that my Rainforest account will be unblocked, as said by your support. My question is, when will you introduce your own payment system to PayPal or Skrill, for example? Or is there any other option for my account to get unblocked? And our answer is, we aren't sure if we will introduce our own payment system, if ever. We currently don't have the engineering resources or expertise to make this possible. See previous AMAs for more detailed answers about this. And in addition, if your Crowdflower account is blocked, your Rainforest account will also be blocked unless they lift the ban. Okay. The next section is about job availability, distribution, and performance, and Kirsten will talk to you guys about that.
cool. Thanks, Kevin. And that last section reminded me, there were also a handful of people who submitted questions about blocked accounts. We'll also be following up with those individually and not answering them here just for the sake of AMA time. So this next section, job availability, distribution, questions about performance, that kind of stuff. So we had about 13 questions submitted about these various topics. So kind of the same answer applies to all of them. Our answer, of course, it's kind of currently the same as it has been in recent AMAs. So we recognize that many testers are dissatisfied with job distribution and lack of clarity on how your performance is rated. The science team is constantly reviewing our system for ways that can be improved. But that being said, it will never be possible to guarantee that every tester gets the same amount of work each day, because job availability depends on when our customers release jobs and who is online. And of course, the number of jobs available compared to the number of workers available. But like I said, we are constantly evaluating on how this system can be improved. And we are working on ways to be more transparent about how your performance is rated. This does take time since it deals with some more sensitive metrics and figuring them out, how to display information to you all, while also keeping business interests safe. And of course, we very much appreciate your patience as we work through this kind of stuff. So on to the miscellaneous section, our last section of the day. We have about 12 questions here. So the first one, can I get a work experience certificate from Rainforest QA? So we currently don't provide work experience certificates. I think someone else actually internally has brought this up before. So I'll actually look into the possibility to see if this is something we can do in the future. I really have no idea, so it's not something I'd get your hopes up about too much, but I'll see if there's any info I can give you all about this. Will we get some kind of feedback from malware scans and the HIPAA workspace we uploaded? So we don't have automatic feedback set up regarding your uploads, and we currently don't have the capacity to respond to each one after it's uploaded and we review it. So if you don't receive a response from us, you can assume that everything went okay when we reviewed it. So if something isn't okay, we'll let you know. So number 3, are requests tickets still answered? If not, what other alternatives are there if we have questions about a rejection? So yes, tickets and such are still answered, but due to limited capacity, basically me and Kevin here for a little while, compared to the number of testers we have, we're really unable to get to some tickets in a timely manner, like some rejections, for example. But going to the forum is an alternative place to receive help from other testers about advice on maybe what could have happened. And why you could have gotten a rejection if an admin isn't able to get to your request. So we do apologize for that limited availability there. So number 4, how to become a super tester. So admin, basically myself, and I review it with a few other people. So we pick super testers based on your performance, helpfulness in platforms like the forum and tickets you submit, and also communication skills we see you have with other testers. So these are all things sorry, I just had like a little brain mess up when I thought I skipped something. So yeah, all those things, performance, helpfulness, communication skills, these are all things we look at. Because the things we want you all to do if you're a super tester require these types of skills. So it's a small group, very highly skilled small group, so it's not something we recruit people for a lot. But if you ever are considered, you will get an email from one of us receiving some questions asking about you and things you like to do outside of Rainforest and specifically with Rainforest. And then after we review those answers, we let you know if you made it. So that being said, we do have a few new super testers that have been added to our group the last week or so. I'm still adding a couple new people, so you all will receive an announcement from me in the forum here in the next week or so you all can know who the other new super testers are. So number 5, report bad instructions many times, but they're still the same. Why? So customers can react to feedback given by testers at their discretion. So unfortunately, we can't go in and specifically say, hey, you 100% need to fix this thing that testers have reported, or else you can't submit your next test. That's not how it works. It's really up to them to fix something if they want to. But if you do provide the customer name next time, you submit a question like this, I can follow up with our customer success team about it to see if we can reach out to the customer and try to solve the issue. So can you add an authenticator app for Windows Phone? I'm not sure, but I will run it by the team. So number 7, I'm one of the many successful Linux users. I do not use Windows at home for 8 years now. There are no Windows virus instructions to run on my computer. How can I reach those jobs that require Windows virus scanner proof? This is regarding HIPAA instructions to upload malware scans into the portal. So we have since posted you should only be using Windows Defender if you have a Windows computer. We're sorry we weren't clear about that before. We don't want Linux and Mac users using the Windows virus, the Windows Defender. You should be using one specifically for Linux or Mac. But we have since shared those Linux instructions in the forum. It'll be linked in this doc when we post it. And our dev team is also still working on getting those actual instructions posted in the portal. We will post the forum link here and then we see those there. Number 8, is there a way of a promotion, full-time job, or part-time salary? So no, we don't have any salary positions related to being a Rainforest tester. However, Rainforest testers aren't banned from applying to actual salary positions at Rainforest. So anyone is allowed to look at the job section of our website and apply to positions they're qualified for. So if you go there and you are qualified to apply to one of those positions, please go for it. That being said, please don't apply to it if you aren't qualified for it. Number 9, hello, my question is about the clients. I've seen that some clients are gone. What is the reason? Are there new customers coming? Yep, there are always new customers coming, and unfortunately it's just a way of life that sometimes clients leave for various reasons. Not really related to Rainforest, just various business things or other things. But yep, new clients are coming, always. So number 10, when will mobile be implemented? So mobile is always a work in progress and actually has already been implemented in a few different ways so far. So for the most up-to-date information, just go ahead and check out the mobile section of our website. So how does Rainforest work? Hopefully, if you're a tester, you have a general idea of how this works, but here's a very simplified version of how it works. So basically, customers release tests. You all complete those tests. The results are reviewed and given to the customers. And then the last question here, I have a question about my profile display. Is that possible that the activity charts that are on display in my profile above my stats can be displayed below my stats? It's easy to view for stats than charts. So I will add this to our backlog of suggestions we have gathered for the next version of the charts. So thank you for sharing your feedback with us. And that is actually our last official question we have here. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for submitting these questions. You'll see most of these answers posted by the end of the day. There will still be a few that will have some answers that still need to be confirmed. But thank you all for joining us. I think right now we have about 44 viewers. So I hope you all have a great day. Be sure to share the YouTube link with your Rainforest friends who aren't able to view it live. Otherwise, they'll be able to find it in the portal news and also the forum. I'll post it in there later as well. So have a good day, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.